Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is African American unity for future success. And of course, we're fortunate to have with us to talk about what African Americans must do in order to be successful in the future is Pastor KWalker. Pastor Walker is the senior pastor of the Hands of God Christian Church here in Nashville, Tennessee. And of course, Reverend Walker, let me welcome you to the show this morning, and be assured that I think that I got everything right this time in terms of introducing you. We got your name right more than anything else, and I think that's the important. But we're certainly happy to have you here again, Reverend Walker, to talk about what African Americans must do in order to be successful in the future, which is to say that certainly they've been quite successful up to this point. But there are some things that happen in among African Americans, and we're not trying to to separate any groups here, but we're simply trying to identify what we consider to be some of the important areas of disunity in a real sense among African Americans, and what they must do in terms of ridding themselves in a real sense of this disunity. But before we get into that, Reverend Walker, let's talk about Pastor Kelvin Walker, and have you give us some information about your background and some of the things that were important in eventually leading you to us this morning.
All right, well, Dr. Haney, first of all, let me say I'm glad and thank you for allowing me to come on the show on today and talk about some issues that I think are very important to us as a people. My name is Kelvin Walker. I pastor the Hands of God Christian Church. We're located in North Nashville, 1701 11th Avenue North, about a block off of Buchanan Street. I was born right here in Nashville, Tennessee, born and raised here. Did all, I had one of those jagged lifestyles, you know, Dr. Haney. I was taught by good parents to go to school, get a good education and all of that stuff, but somewhere down the line, I stopped listening to that good advice, good guidance, and good teaching and stuff like that, and ended up experiencing drug addiction and also incarceration in the state prison system. But throughout the course of my years, you know, I did do a little schooling at Tennessee State University. During those moments of time that I had some sanity going on in my life, I attended Tennessee State University, did some studies with the Trevecca East Campus prison program while I was incarcerated. But in terms of having a degree in anything like that, I have no degree in any particular area, but I do have a measure of experience in a wide range of areas, and I think that qualifies me to be here on your show on today.
Very good. And of course, let's look at some of the things that when we talk about African American unity for future success, I think the implication is that there is something that African Americans as a group of individuals are doing that prohibits them from being successful as a group. And this does not mean that other individuals are not, other groups are not involved in some of the same things, but it has a disproportionate impact, I believe we're saying, upon African Americans. Now, what would you identify as one of the things that perhaps creates a greater barrier to success in terms of the African American race?
Well, first of all, I would like to say that, you know, we've gone from being colored to black Americans to African Americans, you know, and I always like to identify myself as a black American. I'm an American who happens to be black, you know, because when I look at my family line, my maternal great grandmother, she was actually an Indian or Native American, I should say. So, but when you look at us as a people, black people as a people, then there's a mindset, there's that exists within the black race that needs to be addressed, brought to the table, and dealt with in order for us to further unite and become successful in a country that we're in and we're a part of. And I think, you know, and you can take this thing back, you know, to there's a lot of different reasons that people would say we're going through what we're going through, and there's disunity in the midst of us. And one of them would be, you know, you take the Willie Lynch letter. You know, some people say, well, that's not even a real letter. But if you look at the principles set forth in that, it was something that was in 1712 that a British slave owner came to America from the West Indies to train the slave owners how to control their slave for better and greater productivity and stuff like that. So, and they implemented a system and said what you would use is distrust, envy, and it was one other thing. I have to look on my little paper to see what
fear.
it said. And fear, absolutely. Fear, distrust, and envy is the thing that you will use. And I think that that exists. We have a fear of dealing with one another. We have a mistrust of one another. And you know, and then there's that envy. We have that envy of one another because when one of us rise to another level, then there seems to be some envy that exists in those of us that don't take
left
that
behind.
Absolutely. But you know, but when you look at it, in essence, you're really not left behind. You're just not going forward like you should because of the envy, because of the distrust, and because of the fear.
Okay, very good. Of course, let us have this first commercial break, after which we'll come back and continue our conversation.